Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'm gonna make the case for you that Tesla cannot be valued. So the valuation is very uncertain. However, it's a very strong buy at this point. So these two statements don't really go together and they're a bit funny. But nevertheless, if you stay until the end of the video, you will see what I mean. And I promise you it's going to be worth it. So please make sure you subscribe to the channel and you gently tap the like button, make sure you don't break your phone, and let's begin the video. So we have to set, to understand what I mean, we need to set some ground rules from the viewpoint that I go out from. So I'm a very long-term investor who is not interested in acting like I'm Warren Buffett and trimming my very small portfolio. I think your portfolio is very small until you're like below $10 million or something. So I'm not someone who is like, my goal at this point is to build positions in companies and hold them for 10 plus years. So I need to find companies that I know they have a huge growth way and they're very sure that they're going to be around. So for example, Zoom is not a good company for me because they had this huge spike at the pandemic, but I don't know if they're going to be around from 10 years from now. Lucid, same thing. Rivian, same thing, you know? So I have to invest in stocks like Palantir that I know that they're going to be here. They have a multi year, growth ahead of them. And I need to be able to follow my thesis. So I cannot invest into 100 stocks. So this is why I want to have a hyper concentrated portfolio of circa 10 stocks. This form of investing I have done for maybe 2 years now, so I'm not the most experienced investor. However, I bought Palantir. My cost basis for Palantir is around $8. My next investment is Rocket Lab, which is very cheap, and I'm currently very low on liquidity, so I'm not able to buy Tesla, but if I can manage to handle liquidity, I will go very heavy into Tesla at this point. So one more thing to understand that is very important. So I'm fully aware that if I have a super concentrated portfolio of very promising companies, some of my picks are going to work out fantastically, like Palantir did. But some of my picks are not going to work out. So this allows for, certain picks to not be perfect and the portfolio overall is still going to be good. So this is important to understand when we go into Tesla. So now, the next thing. So when I buy a stock, I normally like to have it at a very low valuation or having the sentiment very low around the stock, or preferably having a very low valuation and a very low sentiment. So now Tesla. Tesla is very interesting because when we look at the valuation, I cannot value it. I don't think anybody can value it. I don't think that there's a way to value this company. And by the way, if you have a Tesla valuation model and you want to come on my channel, I want to, give you the space to explain to the audience how you value the company. And I think when we watch a lot of valuations, we get like a good idea of what we can think with and what we cannot think with. But I just want to show you some basics for my valuation. Let me just make my head really small. So this is a simplified valuation that I did for Tesla. You can see I divided them into 3 categories: automotive, energy generation, and services and other. And I basically count with very low growth on the revenue for the auto sector. And that reason is manifold. One of them is I think that they're not going to be able to scale as quick as they have done in the past before, because we can clearly see that Model 3 and Y have reached saturation. The Cybertruck, they're not planning to scale it into the millions per year. Like Elon Musk's stated goal is 250,000. So the next, big car is the Model 2 that is coming out. And I think that the ramp is going to go a bit slower than anticipated. And again, let's say that the ramp is going amazingly good for them, but that car is half the price of the Model 3 and the Model Y. So they need to sell 2 of them to make it equal to one Model 3 or Model Y. So even if they're scaling fast, the revenue is not going to scale that fast. So I understand that this is a conservative. People react on this when I write that I think it's going to scale to like 10% per year. But think about it. If the Model 2 would cost the same as the Model 3, this growth would be between 20 to 30% because of the price, right? But because the car is half the price, even if it's scaling very nicely, you get the point. So the energy storage, I'm thinking with 20% increase, and the services and other 30% increase. So here you can see how many units I'm thinking with that they will produce. So, you know, in 2023, they did a little over 1.8 million. And then in 2024, I think they're going to do around 2 million. And then they're going to grow, what is that? It's quite late, a 40% growth in the units produced in 2025. So 2.8 million, and then 3.9, and then 5.488. And now why that is important is because here I have a total number of cars on the road, and you can see this number goes up by what they have produced the next year. So, you know, 5 million cars on the road. The next year they produce 2.8 million. Then they have a total of 7.8 million on the cars. Why is this important? Because those are the cars that they can sell FSD to, which is not in this calculation. So you can see from this, I'm writing what the total revenue is, what I think their profit operating gap margin is going to be, and how many billions their operating profit is going to be. So if you put a PE of 30 on that, which I think is very reasonable with this type of growth. By the way, this table you can get access to if you join the channel membership or the Patreon, and then you can change it with your own assumptions and see what number that you get. I like to share my research. This is not investment advice, and every one of these tables, it depends on what assumptions you put into it. So if you have very optimistic assumptions, then you will get a much higher share price for Tesla, and it will look undervalued for you. But this is my research and my thoughts about it. So here in 2030, I get a value for Tesla company. So again, this is no FSD in it. It's just the car company, the energy storage company, and the services company at a 12% profit and a 30p is going to be worth 803 billion. And currently we are at, or maybe a little bit below 500 billion. So you can see there's not a lot of upside here. And then comes FSD. So FSD, I'm thinking with that they're going to run a subscription model, $199 per month, and I'm putting a take rate of 30% of the fleet. So not the cars produced, but the cars that are on the road. So it's like 30% of this number all the time. And I'm thinking with that they're going to have a gap profit on this of 80% because, you know, you do need to run servers, you need to always have engineers, and you always, there's no business that has 100% margin. So I'm thinking with 80% margin, and that gives an additional 29 billion to their bottom line by 2030. So you can see that this income is bigger than the auto manufacturing, Tesla Energy and Service combined. So the total income when you include FSD is 55 billion per year. That's GAAP net operating income. You put a 30p on that and you get a $1.6 trillion valuation. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate from Tesla bulls that this is a very bearish valuation, but to be honest, this is what the numbers tell me, and you're gonna see how this ties into what I'm trying to say in this video. So on the shares outstanding, I'm thinking with a constant 3% dilution. This is the shares that they have today. By 2030, they should have this much, and then you divide the shares by the market cap, and you get a $429 stock price in 2030, according to this table. Now, I like to aim for a 20% return per year, and this gives me a $120 stock price currently. So if I can buy the stock at $120 or below, I'm making a good deal according to this valuation. So here's my issues with this valuation, and the reason why I say that I cannot value this stock is the FSD might be much later or much earlier than it's according to this table. It's, to be honest, it's looking like it might be earlier because the news came out that Tesla is offering to all cars that are capable of FSD 1 month free trial, and you cannot get your Tesla without getting a test drive first by the salespeople, and this will even slow down the sales. So this is hugely bullish. And yeah, the FSD 12.3 beta seems to be a huge quantum leap step forward for the stock. So it might come earlier, but it might come later, and that hugely changes this table, okay? Then we know that once they have FSD, they're going to have a robotaxi fleet. And I don't know what regulatory approvals they need. I don't know what margin it's going to run on. I don't know how many people are going to use it. I don't know how fast they're going to scale. So that is 0 in this table. The Tesla bot, I can't make heads or tails in my table. I have no clue what it's going to cost, what the margin, how many units they're going to sell. I can't think with it, right? And when you can't think with something, the best that you can do as an investor is to be very pessimistic about it, okay? And again, if you have a Tesla valuation and you want to come on the channel and share it with the audience, I would be very happy to see how you are doing. So this was the valuation of Tesla, and we see how much uncertainty there is about valuing this company. So, and when do I like to buy a company? When the valuation is very low, when the sentiment is very low, or when both are very low. So now let's look at the Tesla sentiment. The Tesla sentiment is unbelievably low at the moment. I honestly don't know what could be thrown at the stock to make it go any lower. We have Elon Musk comp package that is an overhang on the stock. We have the price cuts of the cars. We have Elon Musk being on Twitter too much, and all the Democrats basically raging about his political tweets. We have that they are in between two big growth phases. They didn't give a guidance this year. The expectations are super low. We have Tesla YouTubers and social media personalities quitting or becoming bearish on Tesla. I mean, look at Ross Gerber. He was a Tesla bull. It was one of his biggest holdings in the fund. And now when he goes on CNBC, it's almost like I'm listening to Gordon Johnson. Even his reasoning is like Gordon Johnson. So I don't know how to get the sentiment lower than this, right? So I know I cannot value the stock, and I know that the sentiment of the stock cannot be lower. So now I read a book about investing that is by Mike Myers, or I always forget his name, How to Find Stocks That Will 100x. Even the title is wrong. Whatever. I can find this book for you guys if you're interested. And he made a very interesting point. He said that if you try to model out Amazon in the early days, it was impossible for you to take that bookstore, and it doesn't matter what assumptions you used in your DCF model, you would never get to the valuation that Amazon is today. Because companies can have black swan events, meaning that, things completely go wrong on every single way for them. And they can have white swan events when, everything just clicks and goes way better than expected. So nobody could have expected that the bookstore that Amazon was, they're going to come up with Amazon Web Services, which 80% of the internet is going to be run on, and it's going to be a beast. And, there was certain other things like this that made Amazon what it is today. And that was impossible to see from the DCF, right? And so what I'm trying to say is we don't know what products Tesla is going to come up with, what their, profit, volume, scale, and all these things are going to be. We already know about some products. We know that the robotaxis are coming. We know that Tesla bot is coming. We know that FSD is coming. And then there is, I'm sure, a bunch of other products that they didn't even speak about that are coming. And Elon Musk has a track record of, starting a company. For example, he started SpaceX and they were going to innovate on rockets. And then all of a sudden they came up on this idea called Starlink, and that like 3x the valuation of SpaceX made them into a cash cow and almost gave them an unbeatable moat in space. And there was no way to see that coming, looking into the future. It's obvious looking back. It's impossible to see looking into the future. Elon Musk has done it even in Tesla already. So they have Tesla Energy. That was nowhere on the map when they started. They were going to make electric cars. And, then they came up with this new way of making batteries. And then, they found this niche. They have the solar panels in Tesla. And, I could go on and on and on. So there is a huge potential upside in Tesla on new products that we don't even know that they're going to come up with. Then we also know that if we buy Tesla today, I'm fairly certain that in 10 years, the company is going to be worth more than it is today. Like almost everybody, even the bears, agree that this company has a great future. The only thing where people disagree, or 90% of the people, and then you have the Gordon Johnsons. So where the 90% of the people agree is this company has a bright future, but the disagreement is what's the valuation? Because, the company can go amazing, but maybe the stock is going to be 175 10 years from now, and you as an investor didn't do a good deal. And what else do we know about this company? We know that this company has one of the best CEOs ever, probably Elon Musk. They have an insanely good management team. They are insanely good on executing products. This is the company that has one of the most exciting product lineups in the history. So there is not a lot of risk that you take on when you buy Tesla today. So the reason why I think that the stock is a buy, if you, again, this is not financial advice. I'm just telling you my logic and what I would do if I had money. And I promise if I somehow solve to have money, I'm going to let you know on this channel when I buy Tesla. But I think that the stock at this point is a very, very strong buy because I don't believe that you can get the sentiment to go lower. I don't believe that you can correctly value the company. And it's quite close to the good valuation based on my very, pessimistic table. And the table does not think with future products that we know that are coming, and it definitely doesn't think with future products that are most probably coming. We have one of the best CEOs on the planet, and even if the reason why I think it's such a good risk reward is because when you build this type of portfolio, you know that some of the companies are not going to work out. So I'm willing to take a risk on this. And the worst thing that can happen is 10 years from now, the stock is still $200. But if it works out with FSD, if they come out with the other products, this is probably a $4, $5, $6, $7 trillion company that you have the chance to get for $500 billion. And that's a chance that I'm willing to take any day. So despite that this stock, I don't believe can be valued, or I can't value it, I think it's a strong buy. So let me know in the comments what you thought of this video. And if you watched this far, I want to make an announcement, but just listen to it. So I want to get help with my social media creation because I think that the best value that we can give to retail investors is to go super focused on a few stocks that we maniacally cover, and we help other retail fellow investors do their own research, because I truly believe that retail can have an edge over Wall Street because we basically crowdsource the research into companies, and instead of waiting for things to show up in the P&Ls and the balance sheet, we can anticipate them and really get a leg up over Wall Street. But I have a full-time job. I'm a Swedish real estate developer. We're building, have a project where we're finishing 24 apartments. We have building permits on 30-something apartments. We have like 200 apartments in the planning phase. So the point is, I'm not able to do this every day and all day. And I'm following quite some companies, and I don't know how much more I can follow. And so I'm interested if there's people out there who have a passion for stocks and who are similar investors, have similar mindsets to me. Hit me up, because I want to find a way how we can work together and benefit the audience. But I don't fully have it worked out in my head. So thank you so much for watching. I wish you happy Easter. Make sure you spend it with the family, and I'll see you on the next video. Ciao, ciao.